Hello, welcome to another gratuitous Enigmas of the Ancient World video. My name's Luke. Today's episode of Wait, Who Built This? Is on Elephantine Island in Egypt. Elephantine, sometimes called Elephantine or just Elephantine Island, is not too far. Karnak, Luxor. Beautiful little journey in a little boat down the river. And this has an old granite quarry that was being used at least back in the 4th dynasty, what we think of now as the 4th dynasty, but has been used since then by successive dynasties of Egyptians all the way up to the Ptolemaic era. And you can see the granite protrusions there coming out of the wall at the back by the dock, beyond the dock. And there were some kitties there to greet us, and I think Drew had brought a free lunch for the kitties. He'd brought some boiled eggs, so they were happy. Now, Elephantine Island is an island most tour companies will take you to, and everything there is cool. All the dynastic stuff from all the different times is great, just as all of Egypt is, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the smoking gun. Wait a second, that doesn't make any sense stuff. And there is quite a bit of that here in the tour companies. The usual tour companies don't show you this stuff. So if you go here, this is the stuff you want to look for, and other stuff as well. This is in the museum. Actually, I just found this interesting. It's kind of cute. It's a little translation of a marriage contract between a girl called Teresh Hut and her suitor. And you can see Egypt wasn't a bad place to be a woman. Back in the day, women had it hard just about everywhere, but maybe not so much Egypt. This is Graham Hancock. My first trip to Elephantine Island as an adult was 2015 in the infamous Hancock versus Hawass debate tour, which was just one interesting ride, let me tell you. Anyway, Graham, when we got to Elephantine Island, he hopped up on a granite box, which caused a bit of a problem with the guards and had to be sorted out, and then he was allowed finally to give a little talk about how his first trip to Elephantine Island was researching for the book Sign and the Seal, which was his quest to find the resting place of the lost Ark of the Covenant. And while he was exploring Elephantine Island, where it's rumored the Ark was held for a while, he discovered how far back Egypt really goes and how many fallacies and just lies are being told or misinformation. And I already knew about this box back then. I was excited to see it. I got a few janky pictures back at the time. But I discussed it with him, and he knew about this box and its incredible design and skilled work, and he also knew about the other one that we know of like this that's in the Horus Temple at Khufu, the Naos there. And so we discussed it, and he was really very impressed and blown away by the people who were doing this, but he's not really that interested in the tools and and the results of the tools. He doesn't feel he needs any extra evidence to back up what his astronomical theories have shown him, and I don't. It's not that I disagree. I just think this stuff's interesting too. This box has red ochre quarryman's marks in there, and we'll talk about that later on in the video too.
Again, the type of granite that is odd to see around Aswan. Why go some other place and bring a different type of granite if you are here with all this granite around you? Is there a quarry here for this type of granite?
So, it's always interesting, the stone types, and Yousef's really on top of that. Now, we had heard that there were some storage units. Yousef had heard with some interesting stuff here. So we attempted to get in, we asked permission to go and have a look inside these storerooms, and we were told no by the Germans.
So you are not allowed to see what's going behind these walls, whatever was discovered. And this is the new German technology. Here you can see, as they label it, the evolution of Sati temple throughout the ages. And 7 layers they found laid on top of each other. So this is the same site, as you can see, like this part here is the same part here. So this is the same location. And then early dynasty, 6th dynasty, Middle Kingdom, Middle Kingdom again, Middle Kingdom again, New Kingdom, and the Greco-Roman. But we have seen some of the artifacts in the museum that looks like the prehistory time, which is the little idols, the figures of the woman standing, and also the pottery that is made by hand, and has part of it is dark. So there is prehistory, pre-dynastic here too. Maybe not in the location of the Satatov temple, but on Elephantine Island in general.
So there was a storeroom here to the right that had the old iron doors, and this guy was actually really cool. He kept trying to get us into places, and he wasn't allowed to. But I could just fit the camera through the bars, and there was a hole in the screen. So we got a little view of some really large megalithic blocks and a couple other things, but very hard to tell. And I had to lighten this in post a little so you could even really see. So it would have been nice to have had a look at some of that stuff. And again, here I'm just showing you these columns not for the Coptic symbol, but because there's a lack of polish on them, because these are later and they're taken from larger objects before and made columns out of them, but they weren't able to polish them like the older dynasties could.
Okay, the rest of this part is forbidden.
Can go look at that?
The pyramid?
Yeah.
ينفع يبص على الهرم دي؟ الهرم دي ينفع يروح لها؟
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
No, we cannot.
No, we cannot.
Yeah.
So I just started walking.
This is a pyramid.
تعالى من هنا كده بس مدير المناطق.
طيب خده.
And then this guy was all right. But this is a supposedly 6th dynasty pyramid. It's made out of granite, a lot of black granite. It looks like there was some kind of event. It's pretty odd. But when I came here in 2015, I snuck around the back here too, and had a look at it and got some blurry photos. But it's always closed. It's always forbidden, and the Germans always say no. And I'm not sure what it is about this that they're so protective of. It is odd. Now, over the last few years, I've talked to 4 different Egyptologists, and this is one of the things I bring up. And I've had one archaeologist tell me or Egyptologists tell me there were 7 pyramids here. I've had another one tell me there were 4. Another one told me there were none. I had a conversation with Stephen Mailer, who was emphatic that this was not a pyramid. Mohammed Ibrahim, Egyptologist, is certain this was a pyramid. So there you go. But it's small. It would probably be the size of one of the satellite pyramids of Menkaure, if not even a bit smaller. There was no burial found here, no artifacts found here, no burial goods, no treasure, no vat, etc. And it's okay.
Go fast.
Go fast. Poor guy. It's probably just because he doesn't want to get in trouble. But it's what are you hiding here? What are you hiding? So you can see really super black granite. And a hole underneath. There's actually a couple of those holes, and I wasn't really able to tell. If that was loose fill or whether it was bedrock underneath some of that sand and trash that had accumulated in there. So that is the 6th dynasty pyramid. Supposed 6th dynasty, supposed
Here you
pyramid.
can see conclusive evidence that the temple that was constructed during the time of Alexander or the Ptolemaic era was depending on other stones from older structures on the site. And since we have, as we saw there, all the layers, so I believe the part we're going to see here in the back goes back to the pyramids era.
It's interesting to see the dovetailing on those slabs, but you can see the older columns below.
Blocks, you mean?
The pillars that are used down here,
Yes.
they used to be in another structure, and they have older writings.
Which
And
structure
all
is
the
that?
tiles here as well, if we walk, when we walk around it right now,
Yes.
we will see that sides of it has writings and stuff like that. So it was used in older structures. And then this is the case in most cases, when they recycle, they build with it on the same site.
Yes. Yeah, we've seen it everywhere.
So exactly. The archaeologists date this structure again to the Greek Roman era or Ptolemy's. And we can see here on this base of a pillar the name of Ramses II, Usir Ma'at Ra, Seti bin Ra. So they recycled things that was recycled or reused or usurped by Ramses II in this modern structure. How old are these? We never know.
So yeah, just evidence of reuse again everywhere, as there are at all of these sites, and you're never gonna know.
But these are much finer.
You have to really look for
much
this kind of
finer
stuff.
quality of granite, and it's without writings.
You have the
That's the
mismatched workmanship.
Because we have seen many of these, and then somebody wrote a name on it, then we dated the site and did the piece and everything according to the writings. Let's write Luke anatomy and see what they think.
Is this granite from this island? Yeah, it looks similar to the bedrock we saw.
Yeah.
And this is the piece I think actually the Graham hopped up on. And you know, this lip around, you can see the indent on the top, but the lip around the side, just the workmanship, so stunning in that stone. Really, really impressive. And you know, it's that stuff, especially the stuff that has no writing on it, that was never claimed by anybody. Stuff that you know has. And so many sites, you know, that stuff has been moved, and you can find where it's been moved from. So they've been moving, you know, the best stuff from site to site to site, from dynasty to dynasty to dynasty, era to era. And, you know, it's because that stuff is really special, and it's always the oldest stuff. This is a really incredible site. It's just beautiful. And now that we've done the initial walk, we'll start getting into the fabulous boxes. I just included this piece because I wanted you to see some of the color that's still on the walls here, but you know, we think of everything as just being sort of a brown, beige color, but really ancient Egypt was an incredibly colorful place. The temples, palaces, the buildings were all very
The
colorful.
stars in some of the granite stone blocks, and we knew that it was part of the ceiling. And we saw this in all the kingdom structures. Right, Luke?
Yes, sir.
We see it here as well. These giant pieces of granite stone over there has the star, but only painted, so it was not finished. But it proves for us that these were parts of the ceiling from granite. So imagine that this entire section used to have a whole structure from granite with a ceiling from granite, and probably housing these massive devices.
So this is a Naos, yeah?
Yeah,
It's got the...
made from a single solid piece. It's got the evidence of ancient advanced technology. It has no writings, and that's not because it was unfinished, of course. It has amazing and complicated design. Sharp edges, God knows how many thousands of years they are. And it's not the only thing in the area.
It's just massive, too.
Yes, and there used to be more than one.
Can we go down in there this time, Yousef? because there's the inside of one of these boxes has
the writing
inside
that was made inside it to Quarry. It's over there, that one, other one.
Yeah.
I have the photos I can send for you because I've been there before.
You
see, there's another one there made from black granite or porphyritic diorite. And there is another one here made from diorite as well, granodiorite. So we have here at least 3 left. Perhaps there used to be more. I'm sure there is more. I'm sure there was more. We can see the bin stone on top of the shrine. Like, imagine you want to manufacture one of those today. My goodness. Just to extract that piece, that's lots of money. To shape it wherever you want, even from here to there. It will cost you lots of money, the equipment. And then to have workers work on it and give you this precision. Look at it. Like,
perfect.
I can't believe this is the result of hand tools at all.
Impossible.
It's impossible,
It's perfect.
in my opinion. And there they were quarrying one to reuse it. They decorated it in the inside with the writings of the Ptolemaic era or period. And when they were trying to split a side of it to take it and reuse it in the building as part of the wall, they didn't succeed, so they damaged the thing and they left it. Also, they took from this one here. To the right hand side of it, you see another piece of granite stone. Come from here a little bit. Then you will see, what does it have? Does this remind you of something?
This one right here.
This one was the edge coming down like that. What does it remind you of? The Valley Temple. Maybe some of you still didn't see it yet.
Yeah, we didn't go to the Valley Temple.
In the Valley Temple of the Middle Pyramid, I will point out for you that there used to be another course of stones and openings.
Yes, up at the
To have-
top.
yes.
Yes.
So this is the same design. So here you have a ceiling from granite, you have these devices, everything here. Do we have evidence here that has names from the Old Kingdom? Yes, we do. We have a quarry down here, and it still has the name Cheops on it. The focal point. So this is supposed to be related to the Ptolemaic era. We can see conclusive evidence in that shrine that the Ptolemaic era was recycling from this site to build the Satit temple on that other part.
So he was talking there about a stone in the background that you could see. It was in the middle, leaning in it. He was talking about how it had the cuts that you see on both sides of the Sphinx Temple, Valley Temple. That sort of sliding cutout in the top of the stone. And so there was probably something very similar to this structure right in that spot
that
there.
They were not originally made to house
The statue.
the statue. And they dug hole in them. They housed them in the Holy of Holies.
Is that a drill hole?
Yeah, at the top and the bottom. So it had a door.
So it had a door. And the fine line.
I know that line across the middle. That's
doesn't look like paint.
it's
on
a
top of it.
It's not paint. It's a machine tool, I think, like everything else in this.
Imagine how old it is, but look at the angles here around that shape.
Yeah.
And then to have this part hired like that, and then it used to be
And the
surrounded
way they
from
left,
both sides.
instead of having this
From
flat,
both sides.
they have the curve that comes up to the bottom of the bend. It's like a subtle.
Look, that shape, according to some information I learned from a pilot who used to work with radios and stuff like that. So he said, this shape, that arched shape, is the shape that can create the standing wave for resonance. And this other shape, the edge like that, it can function as a regulator for the frequency and adjust it to a certain note.
It's an interesting theory that these curved blips, and you see them at quite a few places. again, the Sphinx Temple, the Old Valley Temple, is a huge piece right outside there that's like that. And so the idea that the lip that comes around is really where you place that lip decides the resonance of the standing wave. And there's lots of glassed stone here. We actually dug like a leg of a statue out of the ground at one point because we were like, "What is that?" And it was like totally glassed like this.
Yes, I noticed this before.
We just dug a big piece out.
I know, but
I mean, this
it can be natural.
It's glass.
The shape.
What would cause that though?
That would be the question.
Because that
Heat.
looks like heat.
Yeah, or water.
So eventually I did jump down in here, accompanied by our friend. And forgive me for saying, you can see the inside of the box here. You can see the shape of it. I am on my tiptoes holding the camera over. I can't see what I'm looking at, which is why this is not the best angle. It was what I could do without climbing on it. Note the beautifully beveled edges on the base of that. They also beveled the sides, the side corners, so there's no sharp edges on the corners, except for the top. Just a really remarkable piece, and clearly very, very old. As Yousef said, there were several of these. None of them had any writings on them until in the Ptolemaic era. They decided to move some of them, and they wrote some script, and then tried to pieced them up and broke them, and this is the one that's in the best shape of all of them. But it's an amazing piece. No writings on it anywhere. Very unusual. Still a little spot for the Ben on top. Okay, now our friend here, he pats this as we walk by, and I thought I had it. I didn't get it on video, so I've got little screen caps of it as best as I could. And pieces of granite embedded in stone. It looks a little bit like, some kind of very rudimentary concrete. It's a terrible picture that I apologize for. Anyway, if you happen to go through there, take a look at that. These two pieces, the one on the left is extremely similar to the large blocks outside the temple by Menkaura's pyramid. It's a very, very specific look to it. And that surface right there, just smooth as glass. Smooth as glass. So this is the other black granite box. You can see quarry marks. There's one to the left there as well, quarry marks all over it. You can see the piece to the right there that's come off it, it's been quarried off it. The top there on the right, you can see the quarry marks where they chip away, they make the indentations, they put the wood in, they wet the wood expands, it splits the stone. It's a terrible method. It results in exactly what you're seeing here, pieces breaking and not being usable, and then you've ruined this beautiful piece. Anyway, this is unusual because of the quarryman's inscriptions there on the inside, the red ochre paint. Some Egyptologists will tell you this was the creators of the box, but clearly these are the people who are quarrying it at a much later time to try to make part of a wall or a table or a millstone or whatever it is that they wanted to use that had these incredibly polished, beautiful surfaces that they could no longer replicate. And again, the original shape pulled out of that box, just stunning and beautiful, and requiring real tools as well as sophistication to make it. So this area, a lot of the blocks, as you can see, that have those little cubes cut out to interlock with other large blocks. And again, this is all large granite pieces in this area. This would have been at least 4th Dynasty, maybe older. It's what we think of, the people that we think of as 4th Dynasty are who built this section here. And it is the superior stonework on the entire island out of everything. None of the later stuff comes anywhere close. This is the pinnacle, as it always has been in Egypt. So those were the boxes, and that, along with the pyramid, mark the unusual here that is not usually shown to tourists. People don't usually get to walk around in there. And there is, however, there are, a couple of other interesting things here, unusual, on the unusual side of things. So we'll walk down right now as the autumn hangs overhead and take a look. This is something that you find here.
Field of expertise.
It's milky
She
quartz.
informed us that this is the stone they extract the gold out of, right?
Gold runs through Milky Quartz.
Yeah.
And you, at gold mines, you always find this kind of stone, right?
Yeah. So
Oh,
imagine
wow.
its quality as a quartz and it has gold in it. So I sense that the conductivity of something like that for
You could
electromagnetic.
probably crush that and still get gold dust from it.
Yeah. So it's in the molecular structure or in the stone itself. The dust of the gold.
Gold is very good for conductivity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Sure.
It's the highest.
And
in
it's
the,
it's inert, so it never degrades.
Yeah. So these stones probably were chosen for the conductivity and maybe other things.
Just
It
have
used to be
that.
a bigger piece than this down here, like a huge piece, similar to the one, little bit smaller than the one in tennis.
Tennis, yeah.
Yeah, but he took it and he put it in a storage place.
Nice.
But my friend here, he found this piece.
You
and
can
he's storing it so we can still display it.
you can have that shipped to my house too.
I can send you a heap of stuff.
Add it to the list.
Watch where he stashes it.
Yeah.
That's actually a running joke I have with Yousef. Yeah, just have that sent to my house. And he does think it's funny, but he hates it when I do it on video because he's always worried that someone's going to take me seriously, like he's taking me to these sites to loot them.
Wow. Look at those black stones underneath the mud brick over there too. Oh yeah. Glassy.
I wonder what scared it so much.
Right? I love this site.
How
It just
many
looks so-
layers and underneath layers.
It's so primordial that
Hmm?
just the granite just looks so.
Yeah, you have it.
So he was pointing out a large chunk of the milky quartz, and Tanis is one of those. Is about 2 feet across and 3 feet tall. There used to be one like that here as well. Definitely something that they were using that for. And Tennille, who is a miner, not a miner, she's a miner. She works at gold mine, and she says they find this stuff near all the gold veins.
It's Khufu's
Similar
cartouche.
things, especially when we know that the river itself is aligned with the north. So if it happened and it was with the magnetic north,
I can't read much, but I can read Khufu.
but they understood how to develop that and then started to do devices to imitate what's happening later. Because
You immediately sort of think of the Gosford glyphs, I think, when you look at this.
especially here, the running water and the granite stone, the alignment, it's all there naturally. Khufu, of course, is the name written here, and this is
This must be Khufu's rock then.
He made this rock.
Now, this is the part right here where I made a joke about Khufu built this city on rock and roll, and then Tennille started singing, and I've edited that out, so if you haven't liked and subscribed already, do that now. Actually, Tennille has a very nice voice.
probably a name of a prince.
Right.
The prince, he's talking about the Ankh that comes
It's quite
after
crude.
the cartouche.
Yeah.
It looks like New Mexican or like rock art, old rock art we find.
Sailors, they like to leave documentations. Stone workers, they like to leave documentations of their stories or their expeditions to extract the stone or traveling. This is the same case with goes for the glyphs.
Yeah.
It was written by a sailor. That's why it doesn't look so professional, because the fine art we see in the temples is made by professional artists. But when a sailor is doing the writing, this is the kind of result you will see.
They found the tomb in Gosford.
I believe, I heard that there is chambers underneath here.
I had not heard that, actually, so that's interesting.
It's a nice piece. Make a necklace out of that.
Here's her drinking it because it's some video. As soon
I
as
have
he
chunks of milk.
showed me a beautiful piece, and I said it was nice enough to make a necklace out of, he had to throw it on the ground immediately. We're going to plug the tour in a minute. You know, if you're enjoying this video, then you should come on the tour with us, because we have a really great time.
I had that feeling too. I just wanted to jump in the water because it looks really clear here. There's almost no crocodiles.
So I took a little walk around here. We all did, but I wandered off from the group, as I am wont to do. And I discovered a little area of granite that looked very interesting. And it's just down here to the left. He stopped somebody from walking over there, and then when they walked over there, I went down there. And so this is a, part of the old granite quarry, and you can see that this again looks like a heat event, something that happened here with this granite that just absolutely vitrified it on the top and blackened it. And that shaking only occurs when the UFOs get too close. It helps if you whisper. Okay, so that was more or less Elephantine Island. There is actually more there. If you want to come and see it with us, you can do so in February of 2020. A lot of special permissions on that tour. This is the little poster for it, and if you are interested, you should go to www.chematology.com or enigmasoftheancient.world and check out the relevant information there and follow the links to the tour company and sign up, because this is once-in-a-lifetime stuff. We're the only tour that has all these special permissions into closed and off-limit sites. And we also keep the group small, generally under 20 people, so it's very intimate, and we can slip into places large groups cannot. All right, once again, I'm Luke for Enigmas of the Ancient World and Elephantine Island. I thank you for watching. See you in the next one.